I'm Barak Yahweh Brakatha, Yahusha, Barak Yahweh Brakatha, Yahusha, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders. Salutations to you, sincere brothers, teaching in truth and in sincerity. Lesson will be entitled, The Worm is Spread Under You. Lord, will you are edified. My source, WLBT, article entitled Jackson's Crumbling Infrastructure Causing Safety Health Hazards for Residents, published on the 19th of October, 2022. Isaiah 14 and 11, your pomp, meaning America's pride, is brought down to the grave, meaning to a very low state, going into the destruction of America. And the noise of your vowels, saying the same thing in a different format, however, proving the potential destruction of America. The worm, which is a representation for decay and destruction, is spread under you. This is a representation for America's weakened infrastructure, America's decaying infrastructure such as roads, bridges, and power supplies. And the worms cover you. Now, this is a representation for a worsened issue, The issue becoming worse. Worms is a representation for a devouring process, Hence, a worsened condition over a process of time. Residents in two different Jackson neighborhoods. Jackson is a part of America. Jackson is America. Are growing increasingly concerned about the condition of their streets. They say large sinkholes. Isaiah 14 and 11. The worm is spread under you. A decaying infrastructure caused the large sinkholes. Not only for residents, but also for government workers. Some of these residents are particularly concerned as we head into the coldest months of the year, which are typically the toughest on our roads. If these issues aren't addressed soon, they fear their streets will only get worse. Hence, the worms cover you. Water continues to run along Woodlock Street, and residents say it has been for about 3 days now. The street, so saturated, finally gave way Monday. And the worms cover you. The street gave way on Monday because of a decaying infrastructure. The street, so saturated, finally gave way Monday afternoon while a postal worker was running routes. It's easy to lose your life on some of these streets. Scott Seuss said, the potholes are just insane. The worm is spread under you. Sue said it's a blessing that wasn't what happened Monday, because if it wasn't the mailman who fell through, it could have been someone else. A lot of kids, younger teenagers, will come flying down this road at night, he said. This is such a hard area to see when you top that hill. Sue said it's far from being the first time something like this has happened on Woodlark, and WLBT can attest to that too. This is what our crews pulled up to back in 2017. I would love to know where the money goes, because I know we are paying our taxes and we are doing all the things we are supposed to do. But apparently, we are just not getting the infrastructure repaired like it should be, he said. Residents along Prentice Street agree. For over 4 months now, Luther Jennings said drivers have had to maneuver around a sinkhole in the middle of the road. The sinkhole is an example of a weakened infrastructure, a decaying infrastructure. Some drivers were unsuccessful. Going into the prophecy of the worm is spread under you and the worms cover you. Jennings said it's also pumping out raw sewage into people's yards, forcing him to keep his children indoors at times. I'm not going to let them sit out here and play in that, he said. Children are curious. They like playing and stuff like that, but it's not going to happen. The City of Jackson spokesperson says crews are working to address issues like this as fast as they can. She said the city recently brought on a private contractor to provide some additional manpower. According to www.dbsa.org, effects of poor infrastructure in education and transport. What are the causes of poor infrastructure? There are several factors that contribute to poor infrastructure, and they include the lack of or shortages of funds, insufficient provision of developmental resources, and inefficiency of developmental labor, as well as poor repair and maintenance. According to the core.ac.uk, what is an example of weak infrastructure? Lack of basic infrastructure such as paths, trails, bridges, and roads, and access to transport services makes it difficult for poor people to access markets and services. And also, Esau wants Jake to remain in these poor conditions. Why? So he can easily hem them up during the time frame of Jacob's trouble. However, this is predestined and authorized by Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah. Lord, will you be edified? Shalom.